Hello guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we will be just doing some simple takeoff and landing practice in the T-45 Goosehawk. So this isn't a tutorial or anything, this is just me in general doing one of my standard training missions, which I usually do now and then just to practice my landing and takeoff capabilities. So let's start taxiing. So it's really important to practice these basic things because more often than not, it's the basic things that are the least practiced. So, like, it seems like it's the most basic thing to know how to take off and land in a plane in DCS, but most people actually have a really hard time doing that, and that's me included. That's why I practice. It's just a thing I have trouble with, and that's why I like to practice now and then, and maybe this will help you guys understand my thought process behind it, how to do it, why to do it, and you can apply this to your own flights, and maybe this will give you an idea how to do it for your own plane. Because everything I'll do today in this video will apply to any aircraft, not just the T-45. It can apply to the F-16, to the F-18, anything you would take off and land on a runway, of course. This will not cover any carrier takeoffs, but I bet there is still some thought process behind it that would apply to a carrier takeoff and landing. So we want to get as straight on the runway as possible. We want to just be right on the center line right here. Now this is an interesting runway where the lights are on the sort of taxiway. I'm not sure if you would actually taxi over these in real life. I don't know. But this is how it's designed, so I'm not going to question it. So while we're taxiing here, we don't want to take off from the lights. I think that would not be good. So I'll just taxi a little bit forward. To here, we'll be taking off from runway 27, that's Ramat David in Israel. So we're on the Syria map today. We'll set up our screens here. So on the left, we will have our ADI. Excuse me? I guess not. Ooh, these are not working at all. Interesting. Just tested these and they were working. That is interesting. Okay, we're about we're a little bit off course. Really, you would not be messing around with your screens while you are lining up. You would be doing that right here for checklist, pre-flight checklist. So let's see if these actually... Oh, there we go. That was interesting. Okay, so we'll just have our HSI on the right screen and our ADI here on the left screen, which is just some useful data, which we won't be really using, but just in case, we will have them on screen. So this is just for navigation. This is just to see, like, our AOA, pretty much. That's pretty much all I use it for. Yeah. So once we're lined up on the taxiway, I think we're about ready for takeoff. We will be not using flaps on this takeoff because we are a light aircraft and do not require it. So here goes nothing. We're holding down brakes, and then we are just nudging the throttle forward to full throttle. And when the aircraft starts slipping, then we release brakes, and we just do some minor rudder adjustments if we go to the left and right. Now you want to be really careful with these rudder adjustments because some aircraft are really sensitive on the rudder, especially if you still have nose wheel steering on, because then it's really easy to just flip the aircraft right on takeoff. You want to be really careful with that, and you might want to adjust your rudder curve in the settings. So about 120, I'll start pulling up the nose, and the aircraft will just take off on its own. Each aircraft is different, of course, so you want to make sure to check your aircraft's manual, or a really good place to check is usually Chuck's guides. So here we're taking off. We are off the ground, so we can put our gear up. We will just climb to about 5,000, 3,000 feet above ground, and then we'll turn around and land at the same airfield. So now we can just see if our aircraft needs trimming. So we'll just we want about a 5 degree, I'd say. 5 degree positive climb. As you can see, our nose is pulling up. That's due to us being in full throttle. This aircraft does not have afterburners, so I'm not too worried about fuel consumption here. And since this is a short flight, we'll definitely not be using all the fuel either way. It's a beautiful day today in Syria, in Israel I mean, but on the Syria map. It's nice and sunny, nice clouds in the sky. Okay. Coming up to 2,000 feet. I'll just climb to 3,000 and we'll turn around and come back to land at the airfield. Now I normally would be using head tracking, but not using it today. Okay, we're coming up to 3,000. Just climb up a little bit higher. We'll start a little bit of a right bank turn, just so when we turn back around, we will be more wind up towards the runway. This T-45 Goose is actually a really nice aircraft to fly. It's one of the better mods in DCS. There's been a lot of recent mod activity in DCS, and the mod community is just growing, which is nice to see, of course. They will never be the same quality as, you know, the modules we pay for, but it's still nice to see some pretty good quality aircraft coming into DCS, and just being able to fly or use these aircraft in your airfields, just to have the feel of that area you're flying in, you know. Okay. We are at 2,700 feet. Oh yeah, that's about accurate because we're above mountains. So we'll start a left-hand turn back towards the airfield. This is annoying. So when you see me just turning on the cursor there, that's me just resetting my cursor because for some reason cursor confined to game window just isn't working correctly currently. And it's kind of annoying me, but I have not been able to fix it. See, we are now. Okay, you really don't want to be in a turn and angled up, because that's a real speed killer. So you want to be level with your horizon. And also, I'm taking a really steep turn. Really, you wouldn't want to exceed 45 degrees in a non-combat scenario. I mean, we are a light aircraft and we don't have any load on, so there's no stress on the wings or anything, but... well, no, not high stress on the wings. But really, we just want to be careful with that. So now we want to visually identify the airfield. And I can see Ramat David right there. Looks like we'll be really nicely lined up on the runway. Oh, again. Not doing the most stable flight. What you want to try to do is always be in a stable flight. When you want to trim your aircraft, you just always want to try to be as stable as possible, because that's going to make it easier for you later to employ weapons or do anything else during the flight. So now we're decreasing throttle, so our speed lowers, because on landing we want to be around 200 knots. And that is for almost every aircraft in DCS, at least jet aircraft. 200 knots is a really good speed for jet aircraft to land. It's plus minus, so every aircraft is the same. It also really depends on the load that you have. But 200 knots is definitely the way to go. Not even on the loadout you have, it's just the loadout is going to depend on how much thrust you have to use. Now, runway's right there. Now we are a little high, so we will take a bit of a dive here and we'll just decrease throttle and we'll extend the speed rate. We'll just take a little bit of a steep dive, which may not be preferable, and, you know, others might say it's not good that you do it, and it really isn't. You should be. Really, we would circle above the airfield and come back around, but since I do not want to take a long time here. I want this to be a short video, just explaining my thought process. Then we will just take a little bit of a steeper dive now with the deployed air brakes. Let's see. And it's deployed fully. We currently have no throttle input right now because we are in a pretty steep dive. We do not want to be picking up any speed. Okay, we'll start leveling off a little bit. About 1,500. I don't want to be in that steep dive anymore. I want to be just about, I would say about -5 AOA. Now, okay, now we're going too slow. Let's put in back some throttle input. Now I can deploy the gear already. And I can also put down flaps to 25%. Now we want to put in a little bit of throttle here. Now this last step is going to be a lot of throttle management and just pitch management. So we want to keep the aircraft about 3 degrees, -3 degrees AOA. It's going to ensure a smoother landing. We want to aim between those 2 white lines you see there on the airfield at the start of this runway. Want to aim right between them. Now we're going a bit slow. When the aircraft starts shaking, it's usually a sign of slow speeds. It's not every aircraft, it's of course different per aircraft, but the T-45 does like to shake on low speeds. Okay, now we deploy full flaps. Well, actually, we have no flaps at all. I mistook my buttons. Now we have flaps. Oh, and that was not a smart idea. You see, as soon as you deploy flaps, you have a lot of lift. So you want to do that much earlier. Now we're going to deploy speed brake just to take off some speed. And we're going to flare the nose. We'll be landing a little bit later than needed, then it would be preferred, but boom, butter. Now we're going to deploy brakes, and we want our speed brakes to be at full just so we have more drag and it's faster. We slow down faster. We just want to slow down until we reach about a taxi speed. And then we will be done with the landing. Of course, still use the rudder to just correct your aircraft if it is swaying. Some planes, it is better to tap the brakes, not hold them. For example, the F-16, when you hold the brakes, it really likes to turn right or left. So you have to be really careful with certain aircraft. I think same goes for the Mirage F1. So some aircraft do prefer to just be tapping brakes than holding them. And now looks like we're gonna have we will have reached our taxiing speed, and we will just turn off the runway, clear the runway for any new aircraft to take off or land. And I'm sorry, this was a mistake. Oh, almost left it there. As you can see, this is a mod, so the flight model is a little bit wonky sometimes. It's also got a weird thrust thing where it doesn't really stop. So, just for argument's sake, we'll just stop here. We cleared that runway. Let's say this runway is out of commission. We'll just stop here so we can finish up. Normally, of course, you would take a taxiway and taxi off that way, but we'll just stop here. So that is my thought process behind the landing. It wasn't my best one. Wasn't even my best one today. But usually, I would take at least this plane, I would take around 2-3 times, takeoff, landing, and then I would jump into one of my aircraft I actually usually fly in combat, which would be like an F-16 or even the Harrier or a Mirage F1, and I would do it with one of those because it's a totally different feel of those aircraft, but I still apply the same knowledge, and with having practiced in this training aircraft, flying in those ones seems much simpler, and landings are much smoother. And I advise just to practice every now and then, just practice takeoffs and landings. And believe me, it will make your flying experience so much more, so much. You will enjoy it much more, just because it will be nice that you can actually land after a mission, or you can take off smoothly. It will just be. I do not have the word for it right now, but I think you get the idea. So guys, thank you for watching. If you liked it, please do leave a like down below. If you want to see more just training missions or me employing weapons, leave a comment down below on what you would like to see. You can also join our community Discord server where we fly from time to time and just enjoy ourselves and talk about aviation and other things. I'll see you there. Bye.